Welcome to lesson 3 of Secret Sales Sniper, and in this lesson I'm going to talk about qualified appointments. It's one of the most important aspects in selling. I think it's often overlooked, the importance of it, and certainly the structure to how you do it is definitely overlooked. So pay attention. This is really important that you take everything I'm about to share with you for the next 15-20 minutes or so and get ready to take action on it, because it will dramatically improve your sales results. I had a teacher at school that once said to me, waste nothing but time, because time is the most important thing. And that covers all aspects of life. You're only here for so long and you've got to make the most of it. You've got to do something you love. But in sales, it's also extremely more important for two other reasons. There's one, to you personally. You only have so much time each day to make phone calls. You only have so much time in a month or a quarter, depending on what your quota is, to hit your target. You've got to use every minute as wisely as possible. The other thing as well is customers are already busy, they're all overworked, and anytime you speak to them you are distracting them, so you've got to really make sure whatever you do is valuable, concise and to the point for them as well. So when you're setting appointments, it's important that you consider how much important it is in your own time, but you've also got to think about what you're doing and how you're impacting other people's lives in their own jobs, in their own business, when they're under pressure as well to produce, to make sure you get the right result for everyone, where there's help going on and there's value being added. So if we look at you as a salesperson, there's two really important activities and role that you play in the job. The first one is identifying and qualifying buyers. The second part is pitching and closing buyers. While yes, there's lots of steps in between, and we're going to dig that out a little bit further as we go through more training, I'm bringing this back to a really simple level just so you clearly see there are these two types of activities. There's getting qualified appointments and then there's dealing with qualified appointments. For the sake of this lesson though, we're just focusing on this first activity about identifying and qualifying buyers that you can then pitch to. If what we know here is you can apply metrics to this, to get one deal, you know you have to do 5 pitches, then there's a good metric there that you know for every 5 pitches you get, you know you're going to make at least one sale. The metric before that then is, well, how many calls do you have to make to identify and qualify 5 buyers who go on to have the 5 pitches? Well, that might be 20 calls a day, for example. So for every 20 calls you make, you know you're going to get 5 appointments, you know you're going to make the one sale. Just think of what an incredibly useful metric that is for you to have and hold to look at your own conversion rates, because at the same time, if you're doing 5 pitches and you're getting one sale, well, you can look at that and how you improve to get 2 sales out of that. And if you're getting 5 appointments from 20 calls, well, you can look at, well, how do you get 5 appointments from 10 calls? Because it's all in your time, it's all to your benefit. You're being more efficient in your time, you're being more effective. But as I said, we're just going to focus on this first part in this lesson, identifying and qualifying buyers. When you're looking to get appointments, you need leads. And leads can come from a variety of different sources, and there'll be a variety of how hot these leads are when they come in. Now, a secret sales sniper is someone that has a strategy for every lead source that is possible, that they know how to deal with them in the most effective manner. So the first thing, for example, if we looked at a golf course here, you've got to play the ball wherever it lands. Your goal is obviously to get it in the hole and finish the hole, you get the deal. But you've got to be a master at being able to play the ball wherever it lands. Sometimes it might be you've got to tee off, sometimes it might be on an easy fairway shot up to the green, sometimes it might be a more tricky shot from the rough, or you've got to overcome a water obstacle. The skill in sales is very much like a golf hole. You've got to know how to play the ball from where it lands in order to get the deal. So if we look at a hole here for an example, and I draw a red line under it, well, you might know that anything that lands, a lead that comes in, anything that lands on that side of the red line to the right of it, that's already a qualified lead. You might know that if something happens after that line, you don't have to waste time doing all the qualification. You're straight into a pitch and negotiation to close it. You're trying to get a one call close maybe off of that. So you've got to think about, if that comes in, you want to go straight to the right strategy. You don't want to waste your time doing the qualification if it's a pre-qualified lead. Now, for example, that could be an inbound phone call. It could be a really hot campaign that the marketing company's done, but it's about you understanding where did that lead come from and what you need to do. However, what we're looking at is the other side of the line to the left of what could come in there on that side. So it could be a cold call. You're literally taking the tee shot right from scratch that is a cold lead. You've done some pre-call research, you know you can see it's a good fit for you, and you reckon you can close it, but you've got to take that first shot to get the appointment, to do the pitch and close. You know, that could be a marketing lead that is doing something very specific, and you know that clears onto a green. It's an easy shot, but it's a very specific shot, so in this case it's got to clear a water obstacle. You know how to do that because you've looked at what the campaign is, you know what's likely to be needed to do that. However, there could be another type lead. For example, someone who's been in a shopping cart, they went to pay, a payment failed, they didn't complete a purchase process. Well, you know, that's a pretty direct shot that you need to phone up and just say, hey, look, I want to help you. Why didn't you complete the purchase? What do we need to do to close this? It's a different strategy, it's a different shot you've got to play, but it's understanding how to play the ball where it lands, and that's looking at where your leads come from. At the end of the day, the goal is the same. In the least amount of shots possible, how do you putt the ball and get the sale? So, taking into account, I said how important time is, as it's a limited resource, and at the same time, you've got to be able to get appointments to be able to qualify someone first before you waste time doing a full pitch. It's a little bit like a game of poker, that you don't want to show your hand too quickly. You don't want to phone up and just show them the price straight away. You need to take time to listen to them and actually understand what they want, so you can align to give them exactly what they want, because that's what sales is. Find out what they want, give them the options, let them decide which one they want to take. When you're doing these initial appointments, what you're looking for is a qualified appointment that you can do quickly, a qualified appointment that you know you're going to have to invest some time in. You know it might take a couple of months, it might take 6 months, it might take a year, but you know full well it's a slow burner, but it's a good one to keep on top of and keep going with. But you also got to look out for the ones you're going to ditch. Which are the people that are never ever going to buy from you? You don't want to keep wasting your time getting appointments with people that are never going to buy from you, because you're just wasting your time pitching, doing something that they may like the sound of it, but there may be something there that it just means they're never ever going to buy from you. You don't want to waste your time with that. You want to work out which ones are the quick wins that you can do pretty quickly, which ones are you going to invest your time in and nurture that lead until it becomes the right time to pitch it and close it. But ditch the ones that are no good. So we're picking up the phone. If you phoned up and said, hey, it's John from XYZ company, do you want an apple? What do you think is going to happen in that conversation? The person at the other end of the phone may just go, no, I have no interest in apple. Very short. Closed down. They may go, yes, we have apples. What price are they? And you go, oh, it's £1 an apple. They go, no, I can get 6 for £1 from my current supplier. See you later. Bang, 2 very short conversations. You haven't explored it. You haven't opened the door at all. You just asked 2 questions that basically got you shot down straight away. That's not how you set an appointment. You don't just phone up and say, hey, buy my stuff, it costs this much, because you're just commoditizing it. You're making it a transaction where people can compare it to something else. There's no uniqueness to you, and you're not going to get there. Now, on a numbers game, you can do that and someone will buy from you, but you're going to burn a lot of data. That isn't how a secret sales sniper works. A secret sales sniper wants to get as many qualified people to close, and to do that you've got to take some time to ask the right questions, find out what they want, find out how you can help them, find out how you can put something unique in front of them that is really valuable that they're going to want. So let's look at it another way. What you might do is go, hey Mr. Customer, it's John from XYZ company. I'm phoning here to talk about the health benefits of fruit within your business and how it can improve productivity. Before I carry on, I just want to ask you a quick question to make sure that I'm not wasting your time and this is valuable. Do you use fruit in your office at all? And if they say yes, you can go, oh great, well can you just tell me about what you do at the moment? Do you see what I mean? How you've opened that conversation up. You haven't shut it down, they're going to tell you. Now, if they don't use fruit, then it's not a qualified buyer. Great, you've qualified out front without wasting any time, you move on. If they do use fruit, you can then go, oh, tell me about that. And say in this occasion, the person goes, yeah, we believe in pears. We believe in the nutrition of pears. It really helps keep our sickness down. And you go, okay, well, tell us about why that happens. What type of sickness rates have you got? And they may go, well, we believe it can be better. We've seen a drop of 2% since we introduced the free pears for people to eat. But there's not a lot of buy-in. People are a bit picky about it. And we go, I can go, okay, well, tell me, why did you pick pears? And they go, oh, I just like them. Oh, well, if I told you I've got something that I believe would work better than pears? Are you open to having a bit more of a discussion around this? And they may go, yeah. And you go, okay, great. Well, how about we set an appointment for later today? Is that good for you? And they may go, oh no, today's not good. You go, okay, cool. What about tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow good. Hell, I can do 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. What I need you to do in that time is then spend 20 minutes by computer. I'm going to go through a brief presentation with you and we're going to discuss how I can help you with your fruit in your office to reduce sickness. Do you see how that's a very different conversation from phoning up and saying, hey mate, do you want an apple? You're taking time to find out, one, do they actually need or use what you've got already, and you're doing it in a very stealth way. This is why it's a secret sales sniper tactic. You're finding out first, you're asking questions, you're getting them to tell things. They've now told you they've got a problem where they want to reduce sickness more. You've got something you can hang on to because you believe that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's going to help reduce sickness if they offer free apples. You believe in the product. You know an apple is better than a pear. So great, you've got someone. It's the right thing for you. They're spending money because they're spending money on pears. Apples are probably cheaper than pears. So you see how it's building, the momentum's building. You're getting a good qualified appointment. But you're not just rushing in and dropping your pants, telling them the price and going one-on-one against the pear. You're holding them back. You're keeping it interesting, ready to build that appointment where they can go, right, I need 20 minutes of your time where I need your full attention. Is there anyone else that needs to be involved in this? How, to make a change, what type of change would we need to go through? You can ask all these questions. So the type of things you're looking for when qualifying, and you don't just ask these questions straight out right because it sounds very unnatural, and you've got to sound very natural when you're talking, which is the example I was giving you with the fruit. But ultimately there's 4 key bits of information you're looking for when you're qualifying. The first bit of information you're looking for is, have you identified and are you speaking with the decision maker? Is there more than one decision maker? You need to make sure you know who all the people are involved in order to get a deal. Secondly, you want to identify and confirm that there's a high level need for you. So in this case, we established that there is a need for fruit in the office because they want to reduce sickness. So we know that, yeah, there's a valid reason to continue with this. Is there an urgency? Well, how important to them is reducing their sickness rates? It's something you can delve into further, but we all know if you reduce sickness rates, you're more productive sales force, higher level of engagement, you're going to get better results. Is there funding available? Well, in this case, yes, because they're already spending money on pears, so we know there must be funding available. It's just about proving that your option is more valuable than what they're currently doing. So you can see that there are 4 very key bits of information that you've got to fit into your questioning and discovery of what you're trying to find out, where you're trying to warrant, is this worth having an appointment with? If you do decide it's worth having an appointment with, then let's go through the steps you need to take. First of all, you ask them, can you do today? And if they say yes, you go, how about 2 p.m. or 3 p.m? Always give them 2 choices to go with. Let them choose the day. You choose it, offer 2 times, let them pick one of them. And you say, that's great, can you write that down for me? Get them to pick up a pen and actually write it down. Confirm that date and time verbally. Always have a date and time. It sounds more official. It's an appointment. It's not just you calling them back. Ask them, is there any reason why you might not be able to show up for there? You want them to say, no, I'm definitely going to do this, because they're giving you commitment, they're building interest in it, they're giving you their word that they're going to be there. Humans are very consistent people. If they say they're going to do something, they're more likely to do it. After you've done that, set the expectations of how long you need their time for and what the requirement is. So you say, look, I need you by a PC for 20 minutes. I'm going to do a screen share with you. And can you make sure, is there anyone else that would be involved in this buying process that needs to be there? So you're setting up, you're getting everyone there that you need, you're in control of this. If you can, send them a text message, an SMS with the date and time. Just say appointment with John at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. So again, they've got another way, it's there to remind them. Finally, follow up, send them an email, date, time, but also put in there the notes that you've discussed. If you've qualified them, put the notes back using exactly the words they said, how you're going to help them. So when they read it, they're like, yes, this is a valuable appointment for me, because other things will come up and you don't want to be the one that gets cancelled. You want to be at the top of their list of importance. Also, if there is a gap between the appointment, feel free to send them some information before the appointment, just saying, hey, I thought you might want to take a look at this. It could be worth you reading before we meet next week. If in the case of fruit, there's an example of where apples have really benefited a company and they've seen a whacking great drop in in sickness and increasing productivity, send them the case study so they've got that before. You're building that relationship. It's another bit of trust to build. It's another touch with the customer. They're getting more familiar with you. But the golden rule all about setting up qualified appointments is you want to do that appointment between now and within 72 hours. A lead only gets colder the longer it's left. And I've measured this throughout my career. The best time to do an appointment is right now, but make sure it's completely separated with them, that it is almost like another meeting. Don't just say it's all one call. Make sure they're clear that it's we're doing a whole nother section now. You may want a little break just to prepare your presentation, as we're going to go through in the next lesson. But the more experienced you are, you'll be able to work around this, but you've got to make your presentation very relevant to them. But if you can do an appointment on the same day, if not within the next 72 hours, your close rate will be dramatically higher. It's just something I've tried and tested throughout my career. The longer you leave a lead, the colder it gets. You've got to maintain that excitement, and you can normally do that up to 72 hours. Once you're past that 72 hours, interest wanes. They think it can't be that important. You're not chasing them up. So it's a general golden rule that I advise you stick to. It's proven, it works. So that's all great, but you've got to get speaking to the right person first. So let's have a look at reaching a decision maker. So I've said at the top, time is scarce, you are a distraction. It's something you've got to really bear in mind. Your objective is to get a qualified appointment by the phone. I cannot state this enough. Cold emails are nowhere near as effective as a telephone. Telephone is much more personable. It's the biggest weapon, and you hear all these things saying cold calling's dead, cold call, using the phone's out of date, you've got to use social media. No, these all have use to build leads and get interest, but if fun starts for you, the job you are paid for is to pick up the weapon called the telephone. The telephone is still the biggest money maker in sales by a long way. So don't rely on email. It's lazy, it's slack, and it's nowhere near as effective. You're just burning data by doing it that way. Your objective when trying to reach a decision maker is to get a qualified appointment via the phone. If you need to leave a voicemail, have your voicemail script prepared. I do offer a cheat sheet which you'll be able to find in another section of the Sales Academy. That's for free, I don't charge for that. But you want to leave a voicemail after your third attempt. So you want to try twice, and if you get the voicemail, don't leave a message, just try again at different times. If at the third time you haven't got through to them, then that's what you need to when you need to leave a voicemail. The voicemail needs to be very clear and concise, who you are, where you're phoning from, the big benefit that when they hear it, they're going to immediately want to pick the phone up. You state your name again, put the phone number twice on there. So say your phone number twice. People never write the number down first time. They will do it in two. And speak slowly when you're giving the phone number. Give it to them in a way, think of how someone needs to write it down. Speak in that slow, in that tone, at that level of speed that gives them a chance to actually write it down. The other thing as well, again, I've heard people telling me this is a really unpopular tactic. I can only say rubbish. You want to make life as easy as possible for people you're dealing with. People do rely on email. When's the best time to get an email? When you're trying to listen to a voicemail, getting someone's phone number, and an email appears saying exactly the same thing with the name of who the person left the voicemail and their phone number clearly on the email. You want to move them to a telephone conversation. You don't want to start talking to them in email, you want to speak to them on the phone. But that's called a double tap, is after leaving a voicemail, you send an email with exactly the same message, trying to get them to call you with that big thing that you say to them, they're like, wow, I really need to speak to this guy. And as I said, get them on the phone. Don't just have a discussion on email. It will go round in circles. You're not in control of it. You're not going to get the information you need, and you're down to them when they can be bothered to reply to you, and they may just disappear. Email is just not effective at this point in the sales process. So we've looked at what you're going to do to get that qualified appointment, and you've got to have a think about what qualification questions you're going to ask. We've looked about what you're doing to try and get that first initial contact and some very high level cold calling tactics. The next thing is understanding you're going to get objections come up, and I've put here some of the common appointment getting objections. Not interested, need to think about it, don't have time, don't like the price, costs too much. Now, the biggest mistake I see people make here is they get into talking about the product and start trying to pitch. What you need to do is hold back, and said it's like playing poker. You don't want to show your hand too quickly. The only thing you're trying to do at this point when you're getting objections is to get an appointment. So when these objections come up, what your response needs to be, you need to practice and rehearse these, but you need to keep it focused on getting the appointment. So if someone says, for example, I'm not interested, you can say, sure, look, I get that, but I'd like to take 20 minutes to show you how you can really achieve this reduction in sickness rates at a really good price for you. Can we meet tomorrow at 9 or 10 o'clock so I can explain to you why you're interested? So you're not trying to explain to them why they should be interested. What you're saying is, look, I can really deal with that, but I need to do it in an appointment tomorrow with you at the right time. If they say, I need to speak to a spouse, you can say, I understand that, but when is a suitable time when I can get both of you on a call so I can show you exactly how this will work for you? Are they free right now? Let's just pick another one. Don't have time. You can say something like, I completely understand that you're busy, so that's why I wish to agree a time when you have 20 minutes to discuss this with me at a more convenient point. How is 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for you? You're always offering at that point two choices. It's called a double bind, where if you just say, how about tomorrow, it's a yes or no. If you give someone a choice of 9 or 10 o'clock, that you're going to get a yes to an appointment. You're more likely to get a yes, or they'll throw an alternative time, but they can't just say yes or no to the appointment. They're just saying yes to when they're going to have the appointment. So bear that in mind using double binds at that point. Give them an option where either way the answer is yes. It's just about them choosing the time that they're going to commit to. What else? Don't like the price. Well, if that's come up, you've done something wrong, because you shouldn't have been discussing price at that point. So that'll be a slap on the wrist for you if that's coming up. I am going to talk in the next lesson about a way of handling a price objection early, but I'm not putting in this section because I don't believe you should be getting price objections at this point. It's a bad time. Oh, sorry. I'd like to speak to you at a more convenient time to discuss this properly. How is 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow morning? What else could we say? Let me try it for a while. Oh, well, we don't offer trials as this is a proven product. I can give you case studies, but can I have 20 minutes of your time to go through this tomorrow? And I'll put the case studies in there just to show you how it works. How is 9 or 10 o'clock for you tomorrow morning? Last one, it didn't work last time. Someone who's used your product before, you could say, look, I would be really keen to understand why you didn't think it worked for you last time, as it's been successful for many other customers. Can we have 20 minutes to look into this tomorrow at 9 or 10 o'clock? And you see, everything I'm saying is coming back to the same point. It's a short response to what they're saying, but then straight focus back on getting the appointment. That's what you need to be doing when setting appointments. You don't want to be getting stuck into calls about the product is, because that's what the appointment is for, where you're making something more specific to them that addresses it. But we're going to cover that in the next lesson. This stage in the sales cycle, as I said, is a very separate activity about getting qualified appointments. So let's move on to exercise 3 from this lesson. It's called Be Prepared. What I want you to do is go and have a look at what pre-call research can you do on your lead before you ring them so you are prepared. So instead of just ringing someone completely cold, which by all means do when you're confident, just have a little bit of a look, do a little bit of research on the company. Because in this case with the fruit, if I knew that they were using pears and they had a problem already, my confidence would be extremely high of going in and having that conversation. So I'm going to come across as very believable because I already know that there's a need for me. The other thing you need to do, step 2, prepare your opening lines, qualification, voicemails and email scripts, because it's got to sound really natural when you're doing it. You heard me using here, hi, it's John from XYZ company. I'm looking to achieve this with companies. Can I just ask you a few questions before, so I check I'm not wasting your time and this is a valuable call? It's a flow I've got into because I know that works, but you've got to find what works for you. Leaving a voicemail, just do as I said, it works. I'll put the cheat sheet maybe at the bottom of this module as well, so it's in here for you to use. Email scripts, just have it already. You don't want to be writing the same email and over again. You just want to have a copy and paste file where you just add in the specific details. It's a system. At this point, you're not writing masses of different things. You just want to be able to say, here's the template. I know I have to put this bit here. I have to put their name in. I have to put an appointment time here. Here's where I put 3 things that I discussed with them just to make it more specific to them. Now, the other thing you need to do is then practice all of these opening lines, qualification questions out loud to be natural. I'm a big believer in mental rehearsal, that you cannot talk and think at the same time. If you talk and think at the same time, that's when you're going to start going, And if you're umming and erring, you're not confident, the person speaking to you isn't going to trust you. So there's massive value in practicing your lines out loud. You can do it on the bus, you can do it with your spouse, you can do it with your friends and family, but the more confident you are that you know you're just going to open your mouth and the right words that come out, the better success rates you'll have, because it sounds natural. Also, practice responding to the common appointment setting objections. I went through a few in here, and you can see I obviously have them in the top of my head of what I know I'm going to say. I want you to do that as well, that when you hear a common objection to having an appointment, what's the one line thing where you go, I understand, what I want to do is this, are you free tomorrow at 9 or 10 o'clock, where you give them the double line. So take some time to go and do these exercise questions, and then, as usual, share your light bulb moments, put answers in the comments, because I'd love to hear back from you. Any questions, problems, let me know, because I'm here to help. That's the end of this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson real soon.